What's up? What it do? How you doing? And I am back with another video. What are we cooking up today? Grandma's homemade buttermilk biscuits and sugar cookies. Let's get started. So, I use a food processor for this, but you can also use a bowl and 2 knives or 2 forks for the cutting process. I just find it easier to do it in the food processor, and I'll tell you what I mean in a second by the cutting process. But first, we're going to start with 2 cups of flour, and for this, guys, you don't have to. I know I've previously said before in one of my other videos, make sure everything is sifted. For this, you don't have to make sure everything is sifted since it's going in the food processor. It's 1. And 2. Okay. Next, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And I used to love these. I love these biscuits. It was the one thing that I didn't get to share with my grandmother was my homemade biscuit recipe, but I'm positive she would have loved it. So that's a tablespoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and we are also going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so that's our dry ingredients. Now, I'm going to set this aside for a second. When you're making biscuits, you want to make sure that everything is really cold. It makes a difference when you're baking. And so I've had my butter in the freezer. So I'm going to grab my butter real quick. And a knife. And we just want to cut these up. Cut these sticks of butter up. I'm using 2 sticks of butter. Okay, so we're going to get this butter cut up. They don't have to be super small pieces, but you want them small enough so that they'll actually work in the food processor. Make sure your knife is really sharp when you're doing this. Actually, if you wanted to, before you put your butter in the freezer, you could cut your cubes up. And that way you don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't want to handle the butter too much because you don't want to just start getting warm. And they'll pretty much fall apart on you while you're cutting it up into little pieces. So I'm just going to continue cutting up the butter and getting it in the food processor. We've got the butter all cut up and into our food processor. And the only thing different between my recipe and my grandmother's recipe is that she actually used lard in her recipe. I use butter, and she actually did hers by hand. I'm being maybe cheating a little and using the food processor. So So flour your board generously because you don't want these to stick. Last time I did a video and I had my jewelry on. Somebody sent me a message like, why don't you take your jewelry off? Well, I'd rather have it on dirty than to have them lost and clean. So that's why. Okay, so let's get this dough out of our food processor. I'm just going to turn it out here. And this is about the consistency you want it. If you find that it's too dry for you, just add a little more buttermilk. Actually, while it's on the cutting board, you can do it. Don't drown it in buttermilk. Just a little at a time if you find it's too dry. It doesn't want to come together. And be careful not to overwork your dough, because you can't overwork it. Just going to get it in here like this. Try to get all those pieces back in there. I may have put just a little too much flour on my board, but that's okay. You really don't want this to stick to your board. I'm going to move some of this off to the side. Okay. Now, I got it to where I want it. As far as the shape. Now, we're going to take our rolling pin and roll these out. You don't want to go, don't go crazy rolling it out, but just roll it out enough. And this is a really heavy rolling pin, guys, so just enough though. And that's about the thickness I wanted. Okay. Now, get your cutter, biscuit cutter, cookie cutter, whatever you want to call it. Your biscuits will look just like this when you cut them out. So, we're gonna spray our pan. You definitely want to spray your pan, because if you don't spray your pan, your biscuits will stick. So I'm just gonna use a little cooking spray and spray my pan. And get these in here. And I love using a cast iron skillet for this. This is what my grandma used. Sometimes she would use a cake pan. Whatever she had on hand actually is what she would use. Get those in there. We are going to bake these for 12 minutes in a 400-degree oven. And our biscuits are done, guys. Look at this. Look how amazing that looks. And I just put a dab of butter and some jam on the inside. Hope you guys can see that. Looks absolutely amazing. Now let's give it a taste. So good. Really delicious. This is the perfect thing for breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack. So good. Buttery. Flaky. It's absolutely delicious. So good. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. It was a shorter video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Share this video with anyone and everyone that you know. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links will be in the description box below. And as always, E&E family, till next time, don't forget to live a little and love a lot. Y'all be